Thank you, everyone, all of our ambassadors for coming. I should have also included Anthony on here. So I'm Julie Newman, and then we also have Cassie online and Anthony. We're all board members of the Engaging Girls in STEM program. Anthony is the founder, our wonderful leader of this organization, and he's even signing in on his vacation. So thank you very much, Anthony. So let's get into it. So since we do have a lot of new ambassadors this year, I did want to just give a quick overview. I know a number of you just got the request to volunteer, and you were so good in your hearts to just go ahead and sign up even without having too much background. So want to make sure you do get that background. So Engaging Girls in STEM, like I mentioned, is a program. Anthony was one of the initial founders. It's in partnership with the LA County Office of Education, and it's been around since 2017. And our hallmark has been these large in-person events, completely centered around bringing ambassadors to meet the girls. These ambassadors being professional women in engineering and STEM careers. So we're just so excited. This year, 2023, I know it's been a while, will actually be our first in-person event since 2020. The last time I saw a lot of you, I think, was just before everything shut down. Our event was one of the last events that happened in March of 2020, I think. So this year we've got, and maybe Anthony, you have an update on the numbers. It's looking like we have well over 250 girls from the LA area, and it's looking like 60 plus volunteers. So this is a very big event, and we're so happy to have all of you being a part of it. So our mission, just to put it succinctly in front of everyone, we get girls excited about STEM careers. We're particularly focused on LA County, girls middle school and high school, and allowing them to connect with role model women in STEM careers like yourself, to get them to learn about those careers, discover all the great reasons why STEM might be the right path for them. And we really focus on providing an outreach experience with these personal interactions and specific targeted information that the girls want, but that they aren't getting in their STEM classroom. So we do try and provide something that is different from what they're necessarily getting in the normal school day. And it's working. To date, we've helped, well over 1,000 girls at this point. We did during the last few years have a number of online events, so I wouldn't say the reach of those is anywhere close to as large as our in-person events. But we have a long track record here, helping them learn about STEM careers, having them interact with all of our ambassadors, and really getting them advice and guidance about choosing STEM. These sorts of organizations, it's really hard to actually sort of directly measure the impact that we're having. But I, for one, I want to share with you one story, and I know that many of our ambassadors have similar stories of their own. But actually, during very close pandemic time in early 2021, I got a random LinkedIn message from Eileen right here. And she actually just out of the blue, she must have somehow found me on LinkedIn and sent me a message and just said that she remembered speaking to me 3 years earlier when she was in high school, and that she wanted to get back to me and say thank you and to tell me that she was studying mechanical engineering. And I just went to go check actually when I was making this presentation, and she graduates next year in May in mechanical engineering. So, we have these success stories, and I think it's really important to really see that impact that these events really can have on these girls. They come back and thank us. They certainly, you'll all see, or past ambassadors will be able to tell you that after the event, all the girls are just so excited, and they're just brimming with energy, and it's just such a wonderful thing to see. So getting into some of our details for this upcoming event, Saturday, April 15th. I know you all have it on your calendars already. So we, the organizing team, are planning to start setting up at 8 a.m., but we don't need you to arrive until around 9 a.m. The event will begin at 9:30. We have 2 featured speakers. And so we will go into our first speaker right after the welcome, go into a brief 15-minute break, during which we have a very important activity of taking a group photo. It's always one of our favorites. We have a picture like this from every year, and they're just the best, and they look great on Instagram too. So then we'll go into our first breakout session, which is where the Meet the Ambassadors portion of the event happens, and it's also split with our exhibitor booths outside. We'll go into lunch. We're planning to provide lunch for all of our volunteers. Then coming back from that, we will have a panel discussion, followed by another quick break while we set up for Meet the Ambassadors breakout session number 2 and the exhibitor booths. Then we'll have a final speaker and our goodbyes. So during this whole day, we'll need all of you. If you're a speaker or if you're on a panel, you of course have the other sections. You have those sections, and our biggest group of volunteers is for these Meet the Ambassadors and exhibitor portions. So we're very fortunate to have this year's event at the LA Zoo. Thank you again to Anthony for coordinating all of that. I still can hardly believe that we got such a fabulous place for this event. And so with that too, they're giving everyone free zoo access for the entire day. So if you do want to sneak out during a portion where you're not involved, you're welcome to do so. And certainly at 3 o'clock when the event's over, you have the rest of the day to go enjoy the zoo. Just a quick comment there too. Our event will be indoor-outdoor. Keep our fingers crossed that all the rain is over, but it might be sunny and hot, so just keep that in mind. So LA Zoo, just want to point it out so that people aren't going the wrong direction here. So the main zoo entrance is, of course, where you see the Los Angeles Zoo sign. I'm sure many of you have been there before, but you do not go to the main entrance. You go over to this building to the right. That's where we will be, and that's where you'll be able to enter, and then after the event, go through to the zoo as well. So this is specifically Witherby Auditorium. That's the easiest navigation, although it should be pretty obvious when you're driving into the zoo. And since we'll be there before the zoo opens, I believe the zoo opens at 10. Anthony, correct me if I'm wrong. Since we'll be there early, there should be plenty of good parking. So park wherever you want. All of the parking's free. There's no issues with that. There are electric spots up to the north if you want to walk a little bit farther, but get a charge while you're sitting there. And then last little brief comment is for all the previous events, they're generally it's a business casual, wear what you wear to work, wear whatever you want, be comfortable. Middle schoolers and high schoolers, they're not expecting you to show up dressed in the nines. But if you want to, you're welcome to. But it is also a day at the zoo, so keep that in mind. So Meet the Ambassadors. This is absolutely one of our favorite events. I like to say that this is the highest return on investment of most of our volunteering efforts. It really, I think it has a lot of impact and is actually relatively easy to coordinate on the day of, and relatively easy to volunteer for, which is why we're so happy to have all of you here. So how this is going to work is we'll have 1 hour sessions, the morning session and the afternoon session. We split it up into 4 15-minute blocks. So during this, it's a speed dating style where we put 1 or 2 ambassadors at each table and then have the girls rotate around. You'll see sort of what it kind of looks like. This is from our 2020 event picture here on the right. The girls will then rotate around in small groups. And we will have a timer running, and we'll give a quick warning just so that you know when the session, the 15-minute block is almost over, just in case you want to wrap up any stories or anything. And for those of you who haven't done this before, I just wanted to give a quick recommendation of how a number of us have found that breaking down that sort of block is most effective. So first things first, introduce yourself to your new cohort of the small group of girls, and give your 1 second sentence description of what you do, just to get it there. And then what works really well is to then go around the table and ask each of the girls to give you their name and their grade level, so that you can then tailor to sort of a middle school audience or high school audience. You'll find that their questioning can be a little bit different. And throw in a fun question too, if you'd like. Then after that, I think it's usually best to spend a couple, maybe up to 5 minutes, introducing yourself in more detail, maybe telling a bit about your career path. And then after that, make sure you have enough time to open it up to questions and conversation directly with the girls. That's of course the most valuable aspect of this is that conversational and back and forth. And certainly, weave in stories into all of your answers to the best of your abilities. How to prepare for this event. So it really is truly quick and easy. Conversational, off the cuff answers really just work out best. And the most I would really say is, spend a few minutes to think of some good stories that you want to tell them. Maybe one sticky note if you want, or just think of them in your head. Then another great thing, it's not required, but a little bit can really help the girls really get a better picture of things. And that's bringing anything you can show and tell with them. So if you have any pictures you can show, or even if it's just a picture of you in front of your office or something, that can sometimes be illustrative to them. Any models, I know we have a lot of the aerospace industry in our volunteer pool. So if you have any spacecraft models or planet models or anything of that nature, we've also had chemistry sets before, and various I think one year too, it was we had an ambassador who worked environmental engineering in a water treatment facility, and so they had some cool test tubes to show stuff. So if you have something that makes sense for what you do to show to the girls, great idea to bring it. Make sure it's something that can be relatively quick and that you can repeat 8 times during the day. And if you, similarly, any sort of activities, then another really successful thing we found too is, if your company, if you can get any freebies from them, even if that's, company swag, like pens or something, or just recruiting flyers, even if it's flyers that are supposed to hire them as college graduates, sometimes that's helpful just to let them think more aspirationally, even if it's not really directly applicable to them. And another crazy one that is really, really effective is if you have business cards, especially if you have, an outdated business card or something that has your old office number on it or something like that. The girls love business cards. We've seen in the past that we've had girls, just have a little stack of cards. And if you do, if you are willing to give out your email to any of them, you will get the occasional follow-up question, which can be really rewarding, and can really help them individually. So we do highly encourage that if you're able to. Then to get into the details more, we've done a lot of these events and sort of figured out what seems to make the most impact, and also what the research shows makes the most impact. So to kick it off, we get back to our goal is to get girls excited about STEM careers. And here's how you do that. First off, focus on the positives of your job. Give all the good stories. Talk about the highlights, the things you love. in particular, telling stories and giving specific examples is always more impactful than saying just, I work on cars. You should say, no, I work on the aerodynamics of this specific car. Here's a picture. That's much more something they can get more tangibly. Tell them what your day-to-day looks like, how it varies. Give them a picture of what being, potentially being in your position in the future, what it really looks like. Talk about what you were like when you were their age. They can really attach onto, commonalities that you had, even if it's like, I love baking and so do they, and then therefore they can, be an engineer. And it's surprising how easy some of those really are. Another fun one that is particularly impactful with our demographic of girls is also highlighting the soft skills in your job. Talk about how communication is really important. Talk about how, resolving differences with your coworkers and things. And that is actually surprisingly, if you go into the research data, that's one of the more useful things that really help girls take a look more at STEM careers. Tell them, stories of success stories from work. And also, give the bigger picture. Tell them about your lifestyle and your hobbies and your family and how your career, fits in well with and enables each of those. Then same thing, don't be shy to talk about the perks of your job. And those things, even salary, travel that you're doing, vacation time, how you, the qualities of your career that you enjoy really resonate well with girls. And I'll save that for another spot. And then further, talk about education. You'll certainly find, like I said, the questions you'll often get from a middle schooler versus a high schooler. Often the high schoolers will be more focused on education. And so telling them, how you decided on your college major, or where you decided to go to college, or what you thought of college, how being in school was different from being in your career, those sorts of things you'll often find the high schoolers are particularly interested in. So if you pull out all of the, the high level things from each of these, it really boils down to sort of these themes to focus on. So creativity, it's an underappreciated aspect of STEM careers that we're, often very literally creating things, making something that has never existed before. Collaboration, most of us work with other people, I'm pretty sure. And that's also a very key component that the girls really, really appreciate. Helping people, and I'll also rope into that the bottom one of, the impact on the world that your career has is a good idea to talk about. The touchy one to talk about, but actually that the girls have no reservation about and would be very interested in, is talking about, careers are so that you make money. And they do actually find it very interesting to hear about that and understand sort of the comparative decisions. Many people end up choosing a career because of the money or because of, that weighed with other factors. And so, don't be shy to talk about that if you're so willing. Stability, like I said, just the aspects of your career and, what you find fulfilling in it, and the work-life balance, just sort of that more holistic approach to the career. So I will put all of this and a little bit more onto a handout that we can give everyone. I'll try and email it out, and then I'll give you a physical copies just so you have a cheat sheet when you're talking and you have a very quiet group and you can't think of what to talk about next. But hopefully with this, it'll make it nice and easy for you. And that is all I have. Thank you again so much. We are so excited to have all of our ambassadors with us. This is really a special event, and I think those of you who haven't participated in it before will definitely see that when we're all together in a couple weekends. and that hopefully you two will want to keep coming back, like many of our other ambassadors. So I'll open it up to questions. We've got, I'll send out reminders. I think many of you have seen the Instagram already, but again, there's the tag. Please feel free to take photos during the event, and please tag us if you do. And then also I'll go ahead and, I meant to do it before this, but I too was working later than anticipated. I'll go and try and search all of you on LinkedIn and invite you into our Engaging Girls in STEM ambassador group, just so that we can all connect. And then later we're like thinking, oh, I talked to so-and-so, but I can't exactly remember what their last name was. Then it'll just be on the LinkedIn group, so it should be nice and easy to find. And that is all I have. Any questions? Or Anthony, Cassie, did I miss anything? Please jump in.
I'd probably like to invite Namrata or Colleen or even Natalie to chime in if there's anything that they would like to add in terms of how they prepped in the past for meeting the girls.
Absolutely.
Putting us on the spot, Anthony. So it's been a while. I mean, as Julie said, the last one, which I did attend, was, you know, the moments before the pandemic hit, and I was also 8 months pregnant, so that was fun. But how I prepared in the past, I mean, it aligns very well with what Julie's been discussing. Like, I tried to think about higher level how to describe my job, and also for my research, like what that is in a nutshell. And girls, yeah, the most common question I've gotten in the past, I'd say, is the what did you like or what did you do when you were my age question, for sure. And they really love that. In the past, I was a little empty-handed when it came to swag, but this year I've got stickers, I've got business cards, I'm working on it.
Excellent.
So they totally love that, for sure. But I do think reflecting a little bit on how you can give those elevator pitches, you know, about your career really helps you in the moment when they're just staring at you, right? So to think about it ahead of time, I think really does help.
Thanks, Natalie.
Great. Thank you, Natalie.
I second that they really did like the swag. I had a number of NASA stickers and things that I brought along with, and that seemed to be almost more important than the words sometimes, but yeah, they like that.
Great, thank you.
Hi everyone. So from my experience, it was interesting actually. I saw such a mix of people, some who are so prepared, knowing what they wanted to do and had already started taking their steps, like obviously high schoolers, you know, like I've got a patent in this thing and this is what I've been working on. And then there were people who really didn't know what they wanted to do. They were sort of blank, you know. So they are ones who don't kind of interact as much until you start talking. Of course, we went around during introductions, but after that, it was kind of quiet. So then I started going from one person to another, just asking, hey, do you have an idea? What are your thoughts? What are you thinking? Is there even like one line, anything that kind of gets you excited? So then they all kind of start talking out loud. So I found that to be helpful. And of course, they love hearing about the work we do. I think they're like a sponge, just absorbing everything, learning about all the opportunities and the variety of work there is. But yeah, super excited to be back with you all again.
Thanks.
We're excited to have you.
Thanks.
Any of the new ambassadors, do you have any questions or even just a clarification or just a comment about what you're hearing so far?
Hi, this is Karina. Just quickly, how are you guys separating the girls? Is it by age or just so in each group you could have middle and high school?
Yeah, that's something that we have continually tried to work out. This year, the almost 300 girls that we have are primarily coming from the middle school. So we really tried hard to try to get them separated between middle and high school. So we'll do our best in terms of at least making sure that one group is pretty much primarily middle, but that second group will probably be a mix. But that's something that we've always heard from past ambassadors' experiences. Like, is there a
Yeah.
way that this could be worked out?
They do tend to clump by middle school or high school just because they go with their friends, and
Sure.
so you often find that you end up with a middle school table for a session, and then maybe you get another middle school table or you get a high school table. But it does look like we'll have more middle schoolers this time. So
Okay,
Yeah,
thank you.
not a problem.
you might talk a little bit less about college acts than sometimes has happened in the past.
Okay.
Are the tables also grouped by their area of interest? So like the aerospace girls would go together in a group, and the computer science girls would go together in a group.
So that's an interesting question. As Julie said, the girls are either clumping or they're really going in all different directions. So we really don't know what's going to happen. And when it comes to the girls going around, they aren't going into any kind of formal switching of tables as much as they're really heading out to different areas. And since we're at the zoo, we'll actually be in 3 separate spaces. We'll have 2 large classrooms, and then we'll also have a large patio. And so all of the ambassadors are really going to be spread out all over the place.
Gotcha, thank you.
Yeah, no, it's a great question.
Yeah, along similar lines, if it's not necessarily split out by interest and you have 2 ambassadors at a table that have like very, very disparate like roles or even industries, like how do you recommend separating out the time or the questions?
We'll plan
Ideally-
not to make that happen. Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh, okay.
yeah. Ideally, we're going to try to have 1 ambassador per table.
Okay.
Yeah. But if we need to, we'll make sure that if there are any 2 ambassadors at the table, we'll make sure that at least it's at a job alike table.
Sounds good.
You guys might have said this earlier, but about how many kids will you have each session at each table? Is it like 10? Per ambassador?
In prior to COVID, we had over 500 girls, and so we would split the group evenly between 250 in one, 250 the other. So that would literally equal out to about 8 to 10 girls per table. Since we've got we've got close to 40 ambassadors,
Yeah.
and we'll probably be splitting the girls in probably about a group of about 150. It'll be a much smaller group of girls per table.
Yeah,
So
probably
that'll
something
be-
more like 3 to 5-ish, I would say.
Possibly, yeah. So you
Yeah.
may actually have more intimate conversations, which has
Yeah.
kind of been our goal for a while anyway.
Anthony, I hate to bring this up, but I'm wondering about masking and any sort of safety precautions. I know that there are still people that are generally nervous about a large gathering such as this. Have you given any thought to, is it just people's own choice what they're going to do?
Yeah, the zoo is pretty much it's optional. And I will be sending out information out to all of our girls and students that if they wish to, feel free to bring to be masked up. But again, we'll also have ambassadors outside in the patio area, so a mask may not necessarily be necessary there. Classrooms I know are well ventilated. But again, it's going to be up to your choice as well as the students' choices.
Thank you.
Yeah, and if anyone has a strong preference where they really want to be an outside table for any reason, just send us an email and we'll make sure that you're assigned to one of the outside tables. Great.
Well,
This is Naseem. I have a quick question.
yeah.
Do you guys recommend, like I know personally when I was younger, I liked solving riddles and playing with puzzles, and that was kind of what initially piqued my interest in engineering. And so can we do something interactive like that? Like, is there enough time for that?
You might be able to do that, but we'll also have, again, another group that'll be outside all of our exhibitors. So industry folks, as well as museum folks who will be doing those kinds of activities with girls to kind of gain gain their interest as well. So engage them in those same self-styled activities as well. But yeah, feel free to do that as well.
Yeah, you'll often find that the 15 minutes goes surprisingly fast, or at least with many groups, it will go surprisingly fast, and then you'll have one silent group and it might be a little slower. But maybe that's go ahead and bring it, Nasim. At a minimum, it'll be a talking point about how you really like puzzles, and that's what sort of got you into engineering. So go for
Yeah.
it.
Cool. Okay, thanks.
If we prefer to be seated in the inside table, do we also shoot you an email?
Sure,
Yeah,
go for it.
Yes, feel free.
Okay.
Remember that the ultimate goal here is really just to engage girls and tell your story, to really just kind of paint a picture that this is what you could be doing. It may not necessarily be a doctor, it may not necessarily be a scientist, but it might be some other STEM related job. But you can't just, again, it's just the idea of exposure and getting them to think about what their future could look like, and that it could be a combination of things.
Absolutely.
One more question. Will you send the slides out? They're really helpful.
Yes,
Thank
will
you.
do.
Yeah. And I'll just go ahead and share one more thing. So we did start this out in 2017. It was a seed grant coming from the California Department of Ed. It went to only 3 counties. LA was one of them. And my wife convinced me, can you just do something that's not for adults and really do it for girls? At the time, my daughter was in 4th grade. And so we tried doing this from 4th grade through 12th grade. Over time, on the advice of the ambassadors, elementary kids were a little bit tougher crowd. So that's one of the reasons why we went from 4th grade and then just started from 6 on. So you'll be able to meet my daughter, and the logo that the little
Oh yeah.
image that you saw of the little girl, engaging girl in STEM, my daughter did that. And so she's been attending these events
This
since
one.
2017. Yeah, there she is.
And she's also helping us with the website and Instagram, is she not, Anthony?
Yeah, she is. When she can.
When she's not busy with everything else.
Yes. So these are kind of the things that you want to kind of engage the girls in. And again, a lot of these ambassadors, I'm sure, have received similar emails like Julie has. I know that we have another former ambassador who's coming back, Stephanie Stalker, who's been engaging in conversations as well with undergrads, and they reached out to her, and Stephanie has been talking to me, and we'll probably be doing some special webinars with these undergrad students, and to be able to host another set of webinars for girls who can't come to this event as well.
Fabulous. Yeah, Stephanie always had really good comments, and I know she had some good success stories, so that would be great. Fabulous. All right. Well, thank you everyone for signing on. And if you do have any more questions, feel free to email them to us. Nasim, we'll talk more later. Don't worry. And yeah, thank you so much. I will send out all the details. And if we have any last minute updates, I'll send those out too.
And we'll stick around for a couple more minutes if any of you need to.
Yeah, if anyone wants to stick around.
Thank you.
And thank you, Karina, for staying up late.
I know. Yes. Thank you.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
So we
Thank
look
you.
at all the different options.
All right. Great job.
Yay.
Yay.